This video will teach you how to revise effectively. When people say they're going to sit down to revise for an exam, it ends up feeling like they're more learning instead of revising. What most people don't understand is that revision is supposed to be more memory based instead of learning new content. First, we need to focus on how the memory works. So, before we look at how to revise and good techniques to revise, let's look at how the brain works instead and how it's functioned to remember something. So, what I've learned is that there's 3 stages that the brain must go through to memorize a piece of information. And them 3 stages are the input stage, the memory stage, and the retrieval stage. First, let's look at the input stage. This is where the brain takes in new content for the first time. This could be in the form of anything, for example. It could be reading a book and taking information in from what you're reading, or it could be from a video where you're taking information in from what you're watching, like a free science lessons video or a video that teaches you how to solve a specific maths problem. The second stage that the brain must go through is the memory stage. Now, there's nothing much to this, and it's literally just the brain storing information. And the third stage, which is the most important stage for revision, is the retrieval stage. This is the stage that you're required to have when you're revising a specific topic, and most commonly this is the weaker stage. You'll find that it's hard for people to recall information from what they've learned previously in the past. So there's a few ways to improve your retrieval ability, and that's by finding a good method of revision. There are multiple ways to revise, some are good ways and some are bad ways, and we'll go from worst to best in my opinion. The first way that people revise, which is the most common way, and I think it's the worst way to revise, which is by making notes. What you'll find is that before an exam, let's say for example, there's an exam coming up like 2 days before. When people start revising, they leave it too late. And then what they do, they go on YouTube, search a video, just make notes on the video, and just expect to know it when they come and sit down for the exam. And making notes is not good, because what you find is that you're just copying from a source, which can be in the form of a textbook or a video, and copying is not a good way to learn information. However, copying is good for cheating. If you want to cheat on an exam, the best thing to do is copy someone else. But you're not going to learn from it, and it's a waste of time. Most people, right, when they make notes, they don't look back at their notes. They'll just make it for the sake of one exam. After the exam's finished, they'll just throw it away, and there's really no point. Another revision technique is called blurting, which is when you write down everything that comes to mind about a topic without worrying about grammar, spelling, or coherence. It is a way to get all your thoughts out quickly and without judgment. So the reasons that it's better from making notes is because it at least improves your creative thinking, because when you write down what information comes to mind, it enhances your memory retention, since you must write something repeatedly, which can force your brain to absorb whatever you're writing. But the bad thing is that it's going to cause you to be very disorganized. You won't be able to review what you learned, and this also time consuming, so it's not efficient. The third revision technique is one of the best revision techniques. It's an active way of forcing your brain to practice retrieving information, and it's by doing practice exam questions. So when you've got an exam coming up, you can search on Google for a topic, or past paper questions, or just general questions on topics you want to revise for. What's good about this is that it improves your problem-solving skills and test-taking strategies, because practice questions help you to become more familiar with the exam format and types of questions you could encounter. They provide an opportunity to apply knowledge in a practical manner. The bad thing about this is that it's time-consuming, and it doesn't go too into detail for a topic. Like, it will improve your understanding of the topic, it just won't go into further explanation. Another bad thing is that there's only a certain limited amount of past paper questions that you can find. Like, once you've done a certain amount, you won't be able to find new ones. Some people, they'll just do the same question repeatedly, which is good, but it's not the best if you want to revise for a test effectively. And another thing is that when most people do practice questions, they end up not marking it, and you won't learn if you don't reflect on your mistakes. Lastly, the best way to revise is by making flashcards. Now, this is efficient because you can quickly review or memorize information in a fast and condensed format. It's very high in flexibility because flashcards are portable, which means you can take them anywhere you want, and it just makes studying easier. They improve your retention, and it strengthens your ability to recall information from the flashcards that you've made, and you can customize your flashcards however you want. There are also a few downsides because it's time consuming, and you can only write a specific amount of a topic on one card, which means you can't go too into detail. They can also be lost, which is another bad thing. The biggest con for making flashcards is that you'll find that this only works for content-based subjects. So for biology, you can write down definitions and exam answers, but for a subject like maths, flashcards won't help, since maths is a more skill-based subject. Another tip for revision is to keep your phone away, as it can be a distraction which could prevent you from revising effectively.